to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so delighted to have you and to be speaking with you once again. And today I'm going to be talking about something near and dear to my heart, and that is my favorite books, my recommendations, things that I'm reading right now. And I love literature so much. It can give you so much perspective. It can take you on journeys. You can go places that you've never been before, places that don't even exist, and it just feeds my imagination, and I love that so much and can change your life. And I know you guys know this because this video has been so requested, and truly feel that life is the biggest teacher. I know that sounds so cliche. I'm a cliche girl, but yeah, I feel like life is the biggest teacher, and the things that I've read have just helped me see it in a different way and has changed my perspective on my life and what's going to happen, what has happened, and how I should live right now in the present moment. Anyways, I'm going to be sharing with you my favorite books, and I'm so excited, man. I've been putting this video off for so long simply because I was like, there's so many good books out there that I still have yet to read, and I don't want to recommend anything until I've read them all, but I'll never be able to read them all. That's why I'm just sharing with you guys the books that I know right now that I truly love, and I'm going to start off with my #1 favorite book of all time, and that is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I don't have it right here in my hand because I lent it to a friend who lent it to a friend who lent it to a friend, so I'm so happy that it's going from mine to mine. But I've read that book I think about 3 times, and every time I read it I'm literally underlining and like being mind blown. And it's basically about this boy, this shepherd boy, Santiago, who goes in the desert to find his personal treasure, and his journey just takes him in so many different directions, and he gets so off path, and he always gets back on his path, and the most unexpected things teach him the greatest lessons, and everything is just one big circle, and it all makes sense at the end. And I feel like I am him in this journey, like witnessing all of these omens and having this intuition and like falling off my path and then having something rekindle that flame and connect me to my spirit again. I feel like we all go on that journey too, with spirituality and with finding our personal treasure, our passion, following our dreams, whatever it may be. I feel like it's a very relatable novel, and for me, I see my life as that. I can see my life from a higher perspective, and I can look back at my journey and see how everything connected, and that gives me peace about the future, because I'm like, okay, all these things kind of aligned even though they were kind of shitty, and now here I am. So that means that whatever comes next, it is just part of my journey, and it will help my growth in some way if I have the awareness to see that end result and see that everything will be okay in the end. So every time after I'm done reading this, I'm able to look at my life with this new awareness, and I remember this understanding about life and the lessons that it teaches you, and in the end how it all makes sense. And I always preach that and tell you guys that, and this book is just a beautiful story of seeing it work for someone else. Reading it from his perspective, you do start to integrate his habits into your life about noticing and witnessing the omens that are going on. And omens to me are such powerful, important things, like little reminders from the universe to get you back on your path, even if it's like something someone says to you, a creative thought that you might have, an impulse of, oh, I need to do this. It's really random. I think that those are really important. It's just a sudden feeling that you have to do something and take action, and I think that's powerful and can set you back in the right direction. So I always listen to random, intense impulses of thought that I have, creative thoughts or video ideas, and this is just how I like integrate it and apply it to my life. But the book itself is just a really fun journey, and it's exciting. The next book is one that I've already mentioned to you guys, and this is Women Who Run with the Wolves. I've seen that some of you have actually purchased it because of me, and I actually purchased it because of a wonderful, beautiful girl named Laura who I met in Barcelona. She recommended it to me, and then literally 2 months later I saw it at Strand Bookstore, and I read this quote from the Washington Post: "A deeply spiritual book. She honors what is tough, smart, and untamed in woman. She venerates the female soul." And I was like, I'm buying like 5 of these. Like within the first few pages, I instantly felt so spiritually connected to this. And it basically says, if you are feeling stressed, depressed, anxious, self-conscious, overprotective, any negative emotion, it is because your natural instincts are being repressed, and your intuition is being repressed because of the society that we live in, and that our roots really do belong in the woods, and our roots are connected to these strong, powerful, sorceress women. And this book is filled with stories of these women that we are all connected to. And it says myths and stories of the wild woman archetype. So it's just such a fun read. I've never read anything like this, and I've always felt like I have this mystical energy. I feel like very powerful sometimes. I don't know if you guys ever feel like some energy from me. A lot of kind of like magic in here, and witchcraft, and women who bring dead souls back to life, and it is just so fun, and I completely connect with it. And when I read stuff about it, I'm like, that makes so much sense. And I feel like it's just feeding this intuition that I've always had of just feeling like powerful and wanting to transmit positive energy to people. I just feel like this is telling me that I'm not so crazy, and that there really is a power within me, and I think a power within all of us to do so and to bring lost souls back to life, kind of. So I thought now would be an appropriate time to tell you that this video is sponsored by Audible, which is a site where you can listen to audiobooks. They have so many different titles to choose from and so many different categories to sift through. And this book is actually on there, which is why I wanted to share it with you. So you can use my link down below, audible.com/Hitomi, and get a free book, and you can listen to this right now. I love how easy it is to listen when you're on the go, when you're cleaning. I personally love having something playing when I'm getting stuff done, and this one will be very interesting to tune into. And it's also an app, so you can take it on the go with you anywhere you want. It doesn't have to just be on your computer. And if you don't like this genre, they have, I think, like 16 different categories of genres and different ways to search for books that you might like. And below my link I will have some other recommendations that I love from Audible that I've listened to, so if this isn't your cup of tea, I'll have, you know, a few other options for you. They also have this thing called the Great Listen Guarantee, so if you're listening to a book and you don't absolutely love it, you can exchange it for another one, kind of like you're actually at a library or bookstore. And so I really love that, and I am so happy to be sponsored by them. So thank you, Audible, and don't forget to check out my link. And I have always felt connected to nature. When I'm going on hikes, I literally feel like I can feel the power of my ancestors who were walking on that dirt before me. And so reading this book, it just completely connects and clicks, and I'm sure it'll be the same for you. Another book that I'm also reading now, because I usually am reading several books at the same time, let me know if you're like that too, but this one, which I haven't gotten too far into, but it's The Universe in a Single Atom, The Convergence of Science and Spirituality by the Dalai Lama. So I first started practicing Buddhism and applying that philosophy to my life in sophomore year of high school. I was really sad. I was looking for some kind of outlet, some kind of faith, and I started reading about Buddhism online, and it just really clicked and connected with me, unlike any other religion that I had learned about before. And this book is about how science plays a role in Buddhism, and can we still follow the claims of Buddhism and accept the findings of science. And the Dalai Lama is just entering into the science world and learning about all these things. It is really, really good. Feel really smart reading it, and I feel less like a spaced out like hippie chick talking about energy and consciousness, because this, you know, shows the scientific side of all that, and I just love learning about it and having more to say on the topic and being able to be more articulate and more intellectual, I guess, when I talk about Buddhism and spirit and consciousness, and that's a really good feeling. So I have not yet finished it, but I definitely recommend this book if you just want to explore that side of Buddhism and the scientific part of spirituality. I wish that I had found it sooner. The next book is great for meditation if you're a beginner, if you've been meditating for a while. I love this meditation book. I feel like this one has been the most impactful out of all of them, because I've used this book and gone back to what I've learned in it so many times, and it has helped me be happy in every single moment, even when I'm doing the most mundane things, when I'm doing the dishes, when I'm going for a walk, when I'm cleaning, vacuuming, like literally anything. I can feel complete peace, awareness, tranquility, zen, and just I feel in that meditative state and just so joyful and complete in every single moment, even the moments that aren't the most fun. And this book has helped me do that. So it's a little meditation guidebook. It's full of stories and just teaches you how to make the most out of every single part of your life. I'm going to read a quote about this book. It says, "The miracle of mindfulness is a jewel of clarity, wisdom, and practicality. Its gift is the transformation of everyday life into an experience of joy, peace, and wonder." And that is so perfectly put. The next book is kind of like a Buddhist Bible, and it is a pretty simple philosophy. This book basically will answer all of your questions and get you started and tell you everything that you need to know about Buddhism. It tells you about the Noble Eightfold Path, it tells you about suffering, non-attachment, it talks about nirvana and pure happiness and enlightenment, and it also talks about how to implement this philosophy into your daily life. And it also has stories in it, and that's why I feel like it's kind of a Bible, because you learn through the stories and the teachings and the scriptures. And I love Buddhism because it's a religion that says you can question it and says that you can practice any other religion, and really does reinforce this idea that religion is just a segue into the same place. All different religions are usually leading to the same place, which is just divine love, love for everything that helps you get to the root of your suffering and let go of whatever that suffering is, you know? We suffer because we have certain expectations about how something will be, and when it doesn't come out that way, we are in distress. And we also suffer because we have attachment to things that will change. We have to let go of those expectations, of that attachment, and realize what life really is. Life is constantly changing, and it will hurt us. We're causing our suffering by expecting something to be a certain way. Attach ourselves to material items that are empty, or to people who will change and expect them to stay the same. It's all about just accepting the truth and the reality of the situation, detaching yourself from your ego in a way. There's a lot more to Buddhism than what I just said, but I feel like people do struggle with that a lot. The next book that I want to talk about I also don't have with me, but it is called The Power of Now. I'm sure many of you are very familiar with it. I know so many people who have read it, and I'm actually lending it to my sister Maria at the moment. And it is just about how to control your mind instead of letting it control you. It's very simple to read. When I was reading it, I was like laughing at the sky, because I felt like someone was telling me what I've always felt, and someone was just speaking my words back to me, and it was just a glorious experience. So that book will really help you live a more calm and peaceful life, will help you get into that meditative state and really change your whole entire life and your outlook on life, because you are taking control of your mind. The mind is a very powerful instrument, and it's best to know how to use it to your advantage to help you live a more peaceful and productive life. So that book I highly recommend. It is very repetitive towards the end, but I have read it twice, and every time I read that one, I find myself underlining and just like nodding my head like, yes, I know this, I understand this. It's definitely something that can be applied to anyone, even if you're not into the spiritual side of things. The next two books that I have to show you are poetry books. I'm sure you've all heard of and read this one. Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur. Okay, I don't think I need to say much more because she's all over Instagram. Her poems are very simple. I think I read this book in one day, maybe in a few hours, but I have reread it and come back to it so frequently because the poems are short and sweet and so comforting. The next one is called The Universe of Us by Lang Lev, or Lev, I don't know the right way to say it, but this one is also really awesome. I'm going to just read you a poem from this so you can get a little bit of an idea. They're all about love. So I folded over a lot that just applied to my ex and that I like wanted to read to him. I read this book once again in like a day. I devour poetry books because they're literally like soul food. And anyways, what I would tell you. To you, love was about multitudes. To me, love was inordinate. I love you, I would say. How much, you would ask. I couldn't find the words to answer you then, but they have found their way to me since, and this is what I would tell you. I would blanket the world in utter darkness. I would pull back the veil of light and reveal to you a blinding crescendo of stars. I would drain all the seven seas and ask you to count, one by one, every grain of sand that clings to the ocean floor. I would tally the beat of every human heart that has echoed since the dawn of our becoming, and as you look in awe at the sheer magnitude of my admission, I would take your hand in mine and tell you, if only you had let me, this is how much I could have loved you. Moments of truth. One day I looked at you, and it occurred to me how beautiful your smile was. I heard music in your laughter, I saw poetry in your words. You asked me why I had that look on my face, as though a shadow had fallen across its sun-drenched landscape, heavy with premonition, dark with revelation. The second I tried to tell myself I wasn't in love with you was the moment I realized I was. Moments. That's the tragedy of growing up, knowing you'll run out of feeling something new for the first time. The sad thing is, you only get so many of those moments, a handful if you're lucky, and then you spend the rest of your life turning them over in your head. I think that's why you meant so much to me. Why I held on for so long. I didn't know it back then, but you were the last time I would ever feel anything new. that one fucks me up because there's nothing like first love. I just feel like you never forget your first love. When you're truly, madly, deeply in love with someone and that ends, you just, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like first love. And anyways, this book definitely will get you in your feels, but it's just really good. And if you notice on the back, there's a little LM. Notice that right there? Okay, so the L stands for Lang and the M stands for Michael, which is her boo thing, which is her husband, and he also writes poetry. My friend actually bought his book. I think it's called Sweet Dirty Little Things or something like that. It is an erotic poetry book and it talks about their sex life, and we realized they both have the LM on the back, and it is such a coincidence that my friend bought the book of her husband and I was reading about her sex life. It was just interesting to see his writing and her writing and what they wrote about, and we began to realize that their writing style is really similar. So we looked up her boo thing, Michael, whatever his name is, on the internet, and there are literally no pictures of him. And then we saw on Reddit or something that there's a conspiracy theory that he's not a real person and that Lang Li made him up and actually is writing these stories as him when it's really her. And so we literally were like so into this. We were investigating and we DM'd him and we were like, hey, just got your poetry book, it was really good, but are you real? And then he responded and he was like, I promise you I'm real, my publisher is so and so, blah 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 blah. And we were like, but that still doesn't prove whether you're real or not. And maybe he just doesn't want any photos of himself on the internet, but we're still kind of skeptical. We're like, maybe this girl made him up, and the writing style is a little bit similar, so not completely convinced. But either way, they're both really good poetry books, and she has a few of them out there. This one was just my favorite when I was checking them all out at Strand Bookstore. This next book is great for vegans if you want vegan knowledge on food and how your body digests food. This is just packed full of information. I felt like I took a whole course on health and nutrition when I read this, and I should probably reread this just to remember. But yeah, this is about a Olympian who decided to go vegan, and if you want to go vegan and have a very healthy body and lifestyle, if you want to lose weight, anything like that, read this book and it'll teach you how to do it in a very healthy manner. It has food and meal plans in the back of it. It just talks about how food is digested into your body and which foods give you the most nutrients and give you the most energy, and it is just a really fantastic read. When I first started reading this, I brought it everywhere with me, and I even made a video about it. That will be linked down below, about my nutrient-dense diet and why I wanted to eat more greens and everything like that. And so this book just really is amazing. I took it everywhere with me, and I'm going to reread it because I honestly should have reread it when I was going through all my bloating troubles. I think that would have really helped. Let me tell you guys what this book will teach you how to do. Lower body fat and increase muscle tone, diminish visible signs of aging, sleep better and more restfully, experience better moods, increase energy and mental clarity, build a stronger immune system, lower cholesterol, and eliminate junk food cravings. All those things sound pretty good to me, so if it sounds good to you, check it out. T. Colin Campbell, the author of the China Study, even said, Thrive is a must-read. So if that means anything to you, then check this baby out. And thank you so much for being here and for watching, and I hope that you find a novel that you fall in love with, and definitely check out audible.com, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!
Today was a good day.